Can you hear me well? Good enough. So thank you for this kind introduction. I'm very pleased to be here, so I would like to thank the Malaysian Software Testing Board and Mr. in particular for this invitation. It's very nice for me to be here and to feel the growth of your country and to share with you some experiences that I've had these years in managing the business of testing. As it was said in introduction, I have, let's say, two hats. On one side, I'm working as a manager of a large company which is specialized in testing, and it's going down and down. So more and more big companies recognize the need of having external companies that support them in the testing activities. And on top of this, there's another emerging trend, I wouldn't say emerging, another fact, which is very in the market, that we call segregation of duties. Normally, the big companies tend to have one or more suppliers for the development and a different supplier for testing activities, because they don't want to have people that really things are seen with a total segregation of duties and with a total different perspective. So this gives to companies which are specialized in testing a big market to work with and a big opportunities to work with large customers thanks to their specialization. Let's look quickly now to a survey that ISTQB has recently finalized. This is really a scoop for you because it is the first time that we show as ISTQB the results of this survey, which has not yet been formally published, but it has been concluded. So we are just in the process of publishing it in a very nice book, but the facts are already here. First thing I would like to let you understand is that this survey has been done on more than 3,000 respondents, which is a big number. I think it's the largest survey ever done, because more than 3,000 replies have been collected. And the second one is that it has been really a worldwide data collection, where you see Europe, Asia, North America, South America, and so on. So with countries, with replies collected in about 90 countries, and with a nice distribution of replies between end-user companies and IT companies, about half and half. So I think that the data that I'm going to show you are quite reliable in terms of a fair representation of the current market trends. So, since we are talking about, there are several things which are in this survey. Some of them are technical, some of them are organizational, some of them are economical and budget. Since I was asked to talk about business of testing, I will focus mainly on the business aspect. So the first thing is how much budget today is allocated to testing activities. And that you see that the large majority responded a budget which are between 11 to 25 or 26 to 40%. So this is again a confirmation of the data I presented before, that today, on average, the budget allocated to testing activities is between 25 to 30%. Is this growing? Is it stable? Is it expected to shrink in the next years? So, as you can see, very few companies are declaring that their budget in testing will decrease. A few companies say that it will remain stable, but most of the companies, so 60% of the companies, say that the budget allocated to testing will grow, and it will go from different perspectives, in some cases even more than 50%. So again, this is a confirmation from another side of the fact that this market is vibrant and is growing. This is a chart that shows you which are the phases of a testing process in which testing budget is more allocated. And as you can see, the largest proportion of testing budget is allocated, and this is not a surprise, to system testing. And here we see from another perspective what is
the location, who is responsible for testing in the company, whether it is an in-house team, whether they are developers, in-source test team, offshore test team, nearshore test team. Again, on the concept of segregation of duties, we see that in most of the companies we have a specific test team which can then use external resources to do activities. Here we see how the test activities are implemented from an organizational point of view in the activities. Who is responsible for the testing activities? And we see that in most cases, the testing activities are assigned to a project manager, which is responsible for the well-being of a specific testing project. But if we see from a different perspective, so not from an activity, a project-based point of view, but more from an organizational-based point of view, we see that in most of the cases, the test group is reporting either to operation or to business, and that just since 16% of the cases is reporting to development. This is again a very important confirmation that today testing has its own dignity, let me call this way. So it is not inserted as a sub-activity, as a sub-organization within development, but as a distinct organization which confronts with development with the same power, with the same dignity, let me say, with the same responsibility in terms of reporting to the high management. We talked before about the fact that development life cycle are changing. This is confirmed again also by the ISTQB survey, in which we see that the agile-based SDLC are now being adopted more than traditional ones. You see here, agile in its various flavors today is used by 75% of the organization, where the sequential one by just 50%. So this underlines the need to have the right testing process and techniques also for agile, and I will mention towards the end of this presentation what the ISTQB is doing to push and to foster the deployment of good testing practices also in the agile domain. Another part which could be interesting is automation. As soon as a company starts to do a significant amount of testing, the topic of automation comes out, because we need to make testing not only effective, but also efficient. And test automation is what we need to make it efficient. So we see here that today, only 28% of interview companies do not use automation. It means that the large majority, 72% of the companies, have an automation plan and activity in place, with different variants. In some cases, we have companies which automate less than 20% of the test cases, but we have a lot of companies, about half of the companies, which automate more than 20%, even to more than 50% of their test cases. We will see later on that today, within the testing market, we have different niches. Okay, we have performance testing, for instance, which is a niche on its own. Security testing, which is an expertise and a niche on its own. Test automation is a specialty on its own, but I would say is no longer a niche, because the size of test automation today has become so large that it is a market on its own. So this is something I recommend to you. By the way, I forgot to mention that one of the important drivers for the development of testing activities in some countries is also thanks to government. For instance, in my country, in Italy, we have seen a very rapid, a very quick uptake of testing activities done in a very well-structured way, after the government decided that for each big project, there should be a clear and separated testing activities performed by suppliers which are different from development ones, and in selecting the suppliers based on their qualifications, for instance, based on the number of ISTQB certified people inside. I've been told that also in Malaysia there are thoughts about this, and I hope that this will happen, because this will mean a very strong acceleration in the go-to-market, in the application of testing activities. These are the exit criteria which are used today by the companies in deciding when to stop testing. I'm glad to tell you that the most important criteria used is requirements coverage. I'm a bit more sad in looking that today still the second preferred or used criteria are scheduling deadlines. So we stop testing when time is over. We will see later on that this is one of the most deprecated management decisions that can be taken in a software project, because we think that we will save money, but we will pay the price. We will pay a very high price when we go in production. So I will show you later on that in accordance to the largest statistics which are available today in the software engineering market, stopping testing just on the fact that we don't have enough time, we don't have time anymore, even if we have not reached the appropriate coverage, is very bad. And at the end of the day, if you look at the total cost of ownership of a project onto a 3 years perspective, brings to an increase of costs in the range of 50 to 60%. So we think we are saving? No, my friends. We are just preparing for high budget overruns for the next years to come. So this is important, a very important message that has to be given to your management, to you as a manager, and to your management, to remind this very simple management decision that sometimes is overridden because we are under pressure, because we are constrained by the deadlines which have been defined with our customer, but something to be kept always in mind and to try to manage as much as possible. Now, I would like now to, after this general introduction about the testing market and about what's going on, I would like to spend a few words about what is ISTQB, which I'm representing, and how we as ISTQB are contributing to spearheading the business of testing. ISTQB stands for International Software Testing Qualification Board. It's a non-profit association which is in existence since more than 10 years. And our mission is advancing the software testing profession. We do it mainly in two ways. We write testing syllabi, which are books which define good practices in doing testing activities. And we do it under a completely open source approach. So our syllabi are available for download without any restriction by anybody. This was a choice that was taken at the very beginning, and that I think marked, together with the quality of the content of a syllabi, the big success of ISTQB worldwide. What we do with these syllabi, which are then translated into the local languages but by our member boards, and the Malaysian board is one of my favorite boards because they are acting so good and so smart in your country, is that then we organize exams by which people can get certified and they can prove their competence, their skills, their proficiency in testing activities. This is the current ISTQB portfolio of syllabi. So we have a foundation syllabus, then we have a set of advanced syllabi, test manager, test analyst, technical test analyst, and a number of expert ones. And we are developing as well what we call the foundation extension, among which the most successful one, and you can easily understand it, is the agile tester extension. So how to manage testing within an agile environment. But I think that I've talked a lot. I need a bit of rest. So maybe I will ask the colleagues to showcase a small video that will make you understand better than I can do what ISTQB is and what is our mission. Thanks.
This is Mr. Smith. He is the CEO of a software company which launches software products and offers software services. This is Ms. Ming. She is a test manager in one product department. Ms. Ming and Mr. Smith are talking about their experiences with ISTQB to transfer their knowledge and list all the advantages they know. Ms. Ming remembers that ISTQB means International Software Testing Qualifications Board. This non-profit association was founded in 2002. The organization is composed by volunteer international testing experts. And now, ISTQB is the world's leading organization for software testing certification, present in more than 100 countries worldwide. Testers get certified based on good practices and the body of knowledge that ISTQB defines and maintains. It offers a career path, a way to support the knowledge of test engineers and test managers throughout their professional career. Professionals can acquire a competent knowledge, starting from a basic understanding of software testing to in-depth, practically orientated certifications. By the way, 90% of the people that replied to our survey would recommend the ISTQB certification to their colleagues. Mr. Smith remembers that ISTQB's mission is to promote the value of software testing as a profession to individuals and organizations. One aim is to enhance the efficiency and work of software testers by certifying knowledge. They are using official examination bodies to issue certifications. To expand the software testing certifications, they admit member boards into the ISTQB, and they foster relationships with system integrators, end-user companies, and academia. Ms. Ming is impressed by all those advantages and is excited to start the next projects with ISTQB certified professional. Mr. Smith is very happy that they were talking about their experiences and the knowledge that they already have about ISTQB.
Thank you. So, I'm not going to repeat what ISTQB is, because you have understood. By the way, on our website, besides this video, you find some other ones which get into more detail about the content of Foundation, Advanced, Partner Program, and so on. But I would like to give you some figures, some facts about our footprint, because I think that it's important for you to understand that when you own an ISTQB certificate, it's something that is recognized worldwide. So these are today the countries in which we have member boards, the one in blue, but also in all the other countries worldwide, you can take an ISTQB exam. By the way, as you can see, we have a good coverage in the Asian part. And today, India, for instance, is the country #1 worldwide in terms of new certificates issued on a quarterly basis. Let's talk about numbers. How many are the people that have taken an ISTQB exam? More than 500,000 worldwide. And today, approximately 400,000 got an ISTQB certificate at one level. So it means that on a quarterly basis, now we are making close to 20,000 exams, and that also for us, the market is growing in accordance to the growth of the underpinning market, testing market. So, for instance, in the last quarter, we had a plus 11% with respect of the same quarter of the previous years. So, important for you to understand that ISTQB has been able to become the de facto reference in this domain, and that your certificate can be really recognized worldwide. Today, I must admit that in Europe or in US, by default, when people are looking for testing resources they ask for ISTQB certification as, I would say, the basis. I told you that for Agile, we recently launched the Agile extension. It has been in existence in the market since just a few months, but still in few months we've had more than 1,000 exams taken and 33 boards which have been using it in their local go-to-market. And we foresee by the end of 2015 to achieve over 5,000 exams. It means that also for the Agile, today we think that we have a nice content to be shared with you and a nice certification that you can get. Okay, these are split in terms of certificates. Mission and so on you will find in the slides that I will leave to you. I would just like to focus a little bit on this, which is what we call the ISTQB ecosystem. How does ISTQB work, operate worldwide? We have a central ISTQB body whose task is mainly the creation of a syllabi, the definition of worldwide rules, and our working group activities. Very important are the member boards. For instance, the Malaysian testing board is exactly covering this task for the Malaysian country, like we have in all the other countries. So their task is to do the translation of a syllabi in the local language, to accredit the training providers, to manage the exam locally, to contribute to the ISTQB working group, and to issue the certificate. So your interface to ISTQB is the Malaysian Software Testing Board, which is managing the go-to-market of ISTQB in your local country. In doing this, the Malaysian Testing Board can accredit training providers, which are responsible for creation of course material and delivery of course, and can do the exam by themselves or by using specialized exam provider. This is a choice that the local boards can do with complete freedom. So you, as a certified tester, you can interface with all these bodies. This is how ISTQB works inside. I'm not going to get into the details of our governance, but you see just from this bottom part how many working groups we have in existence, and it means that we keep on making a giant effort to make new syllabi and to maintain the existing syllabi, to develop new exam, so on and so forth, so to keep it alive and kicking and to be as much as possible adherent to your needs. Okay, I go a bit quick. You will find these slides later on. I just wanted to remind that the certification is attached to individuals. So what is certified is the person. So the certification is attached to the person. If a person moves from a company to another, the certification remains with the person. At the same time, we have companies that are investing a lot because in most cases, the budget for training and certification is paid by the companies in which people are working. So more and more companies worldwide have asked us a way to recognize, to show their commitment to ISTQB and the fact that they have a significant number of people, of employees, which are ISTQB certified. This is possible now, since a couple of years, through the so-called ISTQB Partner Program, by which a company can subscribe at the different levels based on the number of ISTQB certified employees which are working for the company. The process is very simple to go through and allows a company to benefit of a logo. ISTQB Partner Programs to differentiate in the market as being a company which has a lot of knowledge, certified knowledge inside it. Very important is also the role of the accredited training providers. Accredited training providers, by definition, have to be different from those that make the exam. So we also have our concept of segregation of duties. And they must follow a number of rules. They must have certified trainers. The content, quality, and the syllabus coverage of a training material is checked by ISTQB to be sure that the quality of the training is okay. How are the ISTQB exams managed? Exams are managed through multiple choices questions for foundation and advanced levels. And for expert level, we require also an essay. Very important for you to remind that although going through a training is good practice, we don't require it. So people can do self-studying, thanks to the syllabi, and then come and sit in an exam. So we want to have as low barriers as possible for people to undertake the ISTQB exam and certification. And this is a survey which was done 2 years ago among all the ISTQB community, asking to the people if they think that the exam is fairly representing the knowledge of people about testing. And as you can see, the replies were very positive. So we think that today our exam gives a fair representation of whether a person is knowledgeable or not in testing. And in order to do this, we take care of a lot of statistical information in order to continuously improve the quality of our exam from a statistical validity point of view. Okay. In the slides here, I'm not going in details on these slides, but you can go to the ISTQB website and you can see which are the contents of the various topics that you can go through, from the foundation level to the various advanced levels, test manager, test analyst, technical test analyst, and the agile tester part, where we cover a lot of topic, including the fundamentals of agile software development, the aspects of agile approaches, and focusing a lot on the differences between testing in traditional and agile approaches, so that you have a clear understanding of the status of testing in agile projects and role and skills of a tester in an agile team. So getting into agile testing methods, techniques in agile projects, and tools in agile projects. I would like to conclude my speech telling you a little bit how ISTQB is planning to evolve in order to try to meet at best the demands that the market is putting us. So what we are considering today, what we're working upon, is an evolution of our product portfolio architecture and contents. Our goal is to make the scheme more modular in order to make it easier for software testing professionals to obtain the certification they are interested in. Of course, the certification which have already been obtained will remain valid. The scheme will not put in jeopardy anything which has been obtained in the past. So, we know that we have different needs in the market, depending on geography, depending on what the people are doing. There are some people that like very much the current ISTQB approach, which I call it a breadth-first approach, which is a very horizontal one, a generalistic approach. But we know that there are a lot of people and companies that would like testing professional to have a depth-first approach, so a specialist approach. So what we are doing today is that we are making a sort of quantum leap in the ISTQB scheme with a new framework, new modules, and new precondition, prerequisites, and entry criteria. In particular, it will be formally announced before the end of the year, so again, I'm giving you a little bit of news on that. Some of the things have already been approved by the ISTQB General Assembly, others are ongoing. We will keep the current levels, foundation, advanced, and experts, but we will have two categories of certification. The core ones, which correspond to the current one that you know, and the specialist ones, which will be smaller, compact, straight to the point, focused modules. These are examples of special modules on which we are working today: usability, security, performance, test automation, mobile testing, user acceptance testing. These are all domains that require its own specialization and its own body of knowledge. And in some cases, we are even considering the fact of having a specialization which is based on the market in which people are doing testing. For instance, the automotive market is a special market from this point of view. It's a market which is booming because today, of course, we have an increasing amount of software into machines, from infotainment to security to the soon-to-be-ready self-driving cars. Okay? And so software has become so important that the automotive industry is, in a sense, developing its own specific ways and approaches and techniques to manage testing. And so we are planning a specific certification for people which are engaged in the automotive industry, as well as we are thinking the same, for instance, for people which are working in pharma and medical devices, which we well know have their own rules about computer system validation and related subject matter. So this is what, in a couple of years, the ISTQB product portfolio may look like. This is just an example, okay, because the content of the modules are still under approval within the ISTQB General Assembly. But we think by the end of the year that we will be able to come to you with this new product portfolio and so offering you additional opportunities to specialize in various testing domains. So here are some contacts. I hope I gave you some insights. I just would like to quickly go through what I think were the important messages that were given in my presentation. Testing market is a vibrant market, is a big one, and is growing a lot. All the statistics and evidence show that. In order to go to market, it's very important that people have a very strong knowledge of the testing techniques, testing processes, and testing good practices. ISTQB is here for that. This is our mission. This is our goal. And we are already available today on the market with a number of modules that help you in this direction and are changing, are evolving our portfolio in order to make it more and more fit to your purposes. I would have liked to give you more details about the economics of software testing, but the time slot of 1 hour was not enough for that because we would have entered into more detailed discussion. So I'm very pleased that I will have today in the afternoon another session of 1 hour in which I will get into more details of what I call the software testing economics from both an end user perspective and system integrator point of view. So the way to practically go to market and make testing a profitable business for a country and the companies that are working in this country. Thank you very much for your attention. I will be around for the whole day, so I'm not sure we have time now for Q&A. I will let, because I think I burnt all the time available, but I'm around for the whole day, so I will be pleased to reply personally to all the questions you may have later on. Thank you very much for your attention. Honored to be here with you.
Thank you. Terima kasih to Dr. Pasana for the very comprehensive explanation and introduction.